Welcome to a truly random, incredibly fun exploration of art supplies. I recently started enjoying using the jelly plates and I'm not good at them yet. But that being said, I was just having so much fun exploring with them, playing around with them and just their possibilities. And it just made me want to explore with even more medias. You know, sometimes I kind of feel a little bit bored if I start creating the same thing over and over and over again. And although the results that I was getting from using the jelly plate were far from successful, they were fun. Like, they were really, really fun, and it just reignited the passion that I had for just creating and exploring and experimenting. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video, exploring these new art supplies. I have got some watercolors, including the core and the Roma Schmall. I've got some distress oxides, and it's funny because I bought these at completely different times to the Neocolor 2s that I have here, and yet they're the same color palette, so I'm consistent. I've got some oil pastels, some soft pastels, which is going to be really interesting because I always thought I hated them, so we'll see how that goes. The Etchr accordion sketchbook because it was 50% off, which is great. And I also got the Etchr A4 sketchbook in landscape, and I'll touch on that in a second. I have been feeling like a touch bored recently, and as a result I've just been exploring different ways that I can be creative. One of them is here, like trying out different supplies or supplies that I've had but I haven't really used that much. The other thing was actually doing some bookbinding. So these are my cute little books that I have made. This is the mini, which has cellulose watercolor paper. This is the mini pro that has 100% cotton watercolor paper, and this is the mini mix that has 100% cotton watercolor paper, cellulose paper, canvas paper and pastel paper. And I guess it's kind of inspired by this feeling that I have right now of just really exploring. I wanted them to be cute and portable, and to also just encourage you to create art in a low pressure way, to enjoy the process. And the covers have my artwork. They will be for sale. So let me know which is your favorite, just because I'm kind of like curious in terms of like covers, which ones you like more, the mini pro or mini mix. Let me know. But with no further ado, let us start off. I'm going to get rid of everything and then we start in a more organized manner, kind of. Be forewarned, I don't know a thing when it comes to the vast majority of these supplies. I know like watercolor, I know gouache, I know Neocolor 2s, but like, you know, soft pastels, oil pastels, distress oxide, so on and so forth. I am sure that I'm going to end up using it wrong. If you have tips, by all means leave it down below. But I just feel like I need to get that disclaimer out of the way before people are horrified by the way that I'm using the supplies. I did this 5-day sketchbook challenge where I finished this entire sketchbook in 5 days, and 2 of the days are actually live streams. So if you want to watch any of these paintings you know, created in real time, then you're able to do so, or you can catch up on the sketchbook tour that I've created. Sometimes making your own fun little challenges or trying different supplies can really help, you know, inspire you again. Anyway, the other reason that I brought this up is because I got this new Etchr sketchbook, which is the cold press. It's landscape and it's A4, and I'd said I'm not getting any more landscape sketchbooks, but then it occurred to me that I really enjoy creating like big spreads in my B5 sketchbook. Like, I like going across the page, and sometimes the downer of that is that obviously there's like a gutter in the middle, and that's fine. Like, I still keep creating pages across both spreads. Like, I really love this one, but I then kind of wondered, you know what, actually maybe I should just try to do that in an A4 sketchbook. It is slightly smaller than a B5 completely opened, but actually it will mean that I'll be able to create art pieces of a similar size without the gutter in the middle. So I got this, and as I was contemplating, you know, should I, shouldn't I, it was 50% off, so a really great deal. Now, although that sale has ended, if you use the code Sketches10, you can get 10% off, and that is because I am an Etchr ambassador. Now, as well as that, I will be doing a little giveaway, so be sure to stay till the end and to check out the description for details on how to enter. What else? Oh, okay, so this is like more practical, less exciting stuff. So a brayer for my jelly plates, as well as these plastic mark making tools so that I can use them on the jelly plates and just in general in my landscapes as well, to try just making different marks, just because I know some people use like their credit cards and stuff, but I don't want to do that even if it is an old credit card. So that stuff is for the jelly plate. So these are the Unison pastels, and they are the 8 half sticks soft pastels. I got them because obviously I'm not sure about pastels as a whole, whether I will like them, how they will feel, etc, etc, but I've heard that they are great. They are made in the UK, and these sets are actually relatively affordable in comparison to like getting the full sticks, and I was like, okay, worth a try. They do come, so I got the blue set, the yellow set, the green set. I also got the drawing set, and then there is an earth set which I didn't get. In honesty, I kind of thought that the yellows from this set plus these kind of like, they're called greys but they look yellow-esque to me, would probably be enough to bridge that gap of the earth set. And as soon as I got them, the price increased. So yeah, the pastels themselves are definitely on the more expensive side, especially when I was looking at the sets, but I found that they have a set of 16 half sticks for £45, whereas these sets were £13.90, call it £14 each, so £28 for 16 versus 45. And fair enough, you don't get like a cohesive palette. Like the one that I'm really curious about and tempted by is the landscape palette, but in theory I've got double for the same price. So I figured it was worth getting these tiny sets. Okay, this is the red orangey set. Moment of truth, because I always kind of feel like they feel like not these specifically, but soft pastels, the reason I've been off them is that I hate that like chalk feeling, and I also don't like my hands getting messy, so but you know what, we're here now, so let's see. Okay, it's not that it's not bad. I thought it would be that, like, you know, that horrible chalk like feeling, but it's not like that, which is good. I'm still apprehensive, like I'm testing all of them as if like, oh no, will this be the one that has that horrible feeling? Let me know if you know what I mean, like, you know, that chalk on thingy. But these, okay, this one's a bit harder, but it's a pretty color. These actually feel okay. Oh, thank goodness. You know what made me cross over is I was watching a video of someone who was describing not trying these out, or like soft pastels out in general, for this same reason. Like she hates that feeling, and she was like, oh, but she's tried these and they were like, they felt great. And I was like, okay, she knows what I'm talking about and she says they feel great, so maybe they feel great. Now I wouldn't go as far as saying they feel great, but they don't grate my skin. I do have some pan pastels for that same reason, which I actually really enjoy using, and I was using with the jelly plate as well. But I wanted more colors. These are really pretty. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad, and I'm surprised. The thing I'll have to get over is the messiness. I have gloves next to me and part of me just wants to put them on. This is really nice color. I've put them back in the same place so that I can label them. Oh, I can't describe it. They do feel nice. Like they feel not soft like oil pastels, but soft like, I can't explain it. This is hard, but it's pretty. So far, all the really nice, bright and vibrant colours have felt really hard. Or I'm really glad I got this. At a point, it was such a faff trying to sort out everything with Jackson's to get them. This is the green set. I've never seen like anyone use gloves while using these. And though I like the feel of them on the paper, I wouldn't go as far as saying that I enjoy holding them. How do people get over this? The colors are really, really nice though. Like really bright as well. Very pigmented. These are very similar. Someone did say there's no point swatching them out because what you see is what you get because it's pure pigment, which I guess kind of makes sense. That being said, this will help for labeling purposes as well. And then last but not least, initially I wasn't actually going to get this. I was just going to get these, but then I realized like I don't have like any neutral colors or anything like that, so it was either a question of, this is just white, of getting the natural set or getting this one. And I kind of felt like this gives me a little bit more versatility, and I think I was right. Like these two colors right here, beautiful for landscapes. And then also a brown, and this is the drawing set. Thought this would be nice for like moody skies. And this is hard. Looks pretty black. Bonus, they are water soluble, which I feel like people don't really talk about much. Or maybe, you know, those who use pastels know, and the rest of us are like, wait, what? But I'm just reactivating like all the, you know, the powder just to make sure that we use it all up. But yeah, did you know, like I did not know this for the longest time. It almost feels like, you know, that kind of thing of like what you use in school is really rubbish quality. So you feel like that's what it's like. Like you almost feel like that is what that actual supply is like. Whereas actually they behave completely different when you get good quality ones. I'm really, honestly, I never thought I'd see the day where I would voluntarily buy and use these, especially because like they're not cheap. So maybe, yeah, I would have tried out like, you know, a small cheap set, but I didn't think I would ever get Unison or whatever. Sale after sale after sale, I felt not an inch of temptation because I was like, I don't care about soft pastels. And here I am, look at that. Here I am, years later, using a range of different medias, soft pastels included. They are so bright. Oh, I can't believe it. This is actually my favorite purchase. And I didn't think that would be the case. This very much felt like a big risk, but I'm so glad it paid off. And that's even without trying it on the jelly plate, just in general. They feel nice. I didn't get that horrible feeling I was dreading. They reactivate with water. The colors are beautiful. I got them for a good price at the very last minute. I'm gonna let that dry, and then I have fixative. It's funny, I've had fixative for years because I've been using them for my Neocolor 2s, but now I can actually use them on soft pastels as they were intended. So let's start off with the oil pastels, just because they are nearby. Honestly, I don't know if this is a famous painting, in which case I'll feel embarrassed, but there's something about this painting that always catches my eye. Part of me feels like, you know, it was inevitable for me to get and try this set because I always look at this. Every time that I go in the shop, I was looking at this set, not even because I was that into oil pastels, but just because I really loved the artwork in it. I don't know if it's the colors, I don't know what it is about it, but it really catches my eye and my attention. So this is the Sennelier oil pastels. I'm not going to swatch out the white because it feels kind of pointless, but I will swatch out the rest. Okay, it's nice and soft. I didn't know how they would feel or if I would like the feeling, the texture. I'm eating up a lot of that oil pastel. Do they have color names? Yeah, they do, and they also have pigment information. So that was like ultramarine, PB29, but this is just the starter set that is quite often on sale, so I've been curious about it for a while. I don't think oil pastels are going to end up being my primary medium, let me be honest, but I'm curious to see how I can work with them in my artwork. I'm also curious to see the soft pastels. That's going to be interesting because I don't like getting messy. I think that's one of the main reasons that I don't like trying these mediums. But even though I was getting messy with the jelly plate, I was enjoying it. So I want to try. So these are the colors. It's not like a pinky color, unfortunately. The colors are, you know, as you would expect from, I guess, you know, getting a standard set where they're okay, good for starters. There's also a white, but I see no point in swatching them out. You can also blend them out with cleaner fingers. We also have some Neo Color 2s that I got these a while back, open stock. I just wanted to try these colors, and it's funny because months later I ended up getting the same colors as Distress Oxides. So I guess I like what I like, but also I kind of thought that these would be nice colors to add to landscapes. And I know that this is jade green that I use all the time. I know that doesn't necessarily make sense in terms of for a landscape color, but I just enjoy it so much, like a little pop of color here, there and everywhere. This is lemon yellow, which is very green leaning, dark olive, jade green, and yellow ochre. Then I did get these. So these are the Neo Arts. I was just curious, like, you know, I was seeing so much online. Some people love them, some people hate them. They're expensive. So I was just kind of curious as to whether I would enjoy them or not. So again, I kind of got similar colors that I'm used to. The only color I would probably add to this for myself would be like a magenta, just so that I have enough to add pops of color. So this is light malachite green, and this is ultramarine, and then we have lemon yellow again. Now, what do they feel? They honestly feel like the Neo Color 2s, just a little bit harder. At least that's how they feel like to me. And then in terms of like blending, they kind of blend, not massively well, but kind of. But yeah, I wouldn't say that they're like the greatest for blending. So I would probably myself stick with Neo Color 1s or Neo Color 2s. But at least I know that for myself now. Like that meme where you get told something, but you just decide to ignore it and see for yourself. That's literally me. This here is one of the new Daniel Smith colors, Coral Reef. It is PO73 and white. Funny because there was quite a lot of PO73 in the Holbein granulating watercolors. I made the video where you'll be able to see the Holbein watercolors, but that is a really nice color actually. So down here I got a couple of colors. Aureolin by Rosa Gallery, which is actually nickel azo yellow, PY150, is one of my favorite yellows. Doesn't really matter the brand. I just love the color. I love that it's like this bright, pretty yellow that is transparent, beautiful for glazes, so like painting over things, but also it's like the kind of yellow that even though it's kind of so it's nice and warm, so in itself is nice to use on its own, but then also when I mix it with blues, I can make really nice natural looking greens. But when I mix it with Quin Magenta, like I did here, and other pinks, I get these really lovely peachy colors, as you can see. But I really like the mixing capabilities that it has. I can make oranges, I can make peaches, I can make greens. It's just a workhorse for me. So I got these two because Rosa, I like the Rosa paints and they're really good quality and really affordable. This was me trying, I don't know how many times I've mentioned this, but I find it so funny that even though I bought the Neo Color 2s and the Distress Oxides months apart, I still pretty much seem to get the same colors over and over and over again. And I guess it's just what I am attracted to. The only thing that keeps missing is the pinks. But anyway, I got the salvaged patina, squeezed lemon, chipped sapphire, wild honey, and peeled paint. As my understanding of them is that either like pads that are somewhat wet, as you can see, and then I bought these sponges that I can use to just dab, 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 and then put it here. I must admit, when I was first dabbing, I was like, nothing is coming off. Like, I was quite disappointed, and I was like, maybe they're dry, maybe they're broken. I added water to them as well to try and like reactivate it. But in fact, I think it was just that I was impatient and I hadn't quite built up enough pigment. And the more I tried, the more actually came through, and these are the colors that actually came through by doing that. So I actually quite like that, and I've used it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if I'm patient enough to use them. I kind of feel like maybe pastels might fill that gap a little bit better. But the thing that I really love about it is that the way they look like really nice and delicate, like they have that pastel feel without, or that pastel look without being as messy, and they also work quite nicely on the jelly plates without the pressure of time. So I really enjoyed trying these out, and I'll show you the artwork. And then I also got this. So I feel like I've mentioned these in so many videos, but just in case you haven't heard me mention them before, these are the core watercolors, which I really enjoy. They are quite expensive to get in the UK, but they are really lovely because they have a really unique way of running across the page and really playing in the water. So I like them for the fact that they can do that, and the colors themselves, as you can see here, are really lovely and really bright. This lovely set comes with these three colors, which are the Quin Magenta, Nickel Azure Yellow, and Ultramarine. And as you can see, they are the colors that I tend to be drawn to as well, and just keep getting over and over. And I know it's a triad, which in a way it's kind of like, oh, not as exciting, but I love the triad. Like this, I love this triad. I love the colors that they can make. I love the versatility of them. So yes, I do keep getting them across different materials. But yeah, I really do enjoy the core paints. I love how vibrant they are. I love how they move. These are some of the mixes that you can get. So this is the Ultramarine, this is the Nickel Azure Yellow, and this is the Quin Magenta. And them getting all mixed together gives us this beautiful green, as well as this really lovely fiery red. And then you can also water it down to get like peach-like colors like this. A set of 6 that has the 5mm size is normally like £36-38. However, they have the sample set, which was 25p, and when it was 25p, I told everyone. I sent out emails, I put it on my community tab. I really wanted everyone to make the most of this deal, because I think it's a great way to actually try out paints that perhaps we wouldn't be otherwise able to try. So they were 25p, and then I told everyone, and then the next day they went to £2.50, and then they disappeared for a while, and now they are back. They are back at around £4-ish. That being said, I still feel like it's a steal, because as I said, this is £4. Getting the set that's double this is £38. So so I feel like it's a great deal nonetheless. You can only get one per order, I think, because it's a sample and it is a great deal. But that being said, I will leave it linked down below if I can, because it's a little bit hard to find on your own otherwise. So these are some of the extra colors that I have got. And then obviously I also got this stunning, beautiful November 2024 by Roman Schmull. I can't believe I almost considered not getting it, and I'm glad that I came to my senses and I did, because it's such a beautiful like purpley grey. It doesn't have that much granulation in it, but it just has a wonderful range, and I just think it looks absolutely stunning. So these are the majority of the supplies that I've got. I have got a few extra ones which I'll kind of touch on as I share them. Hold on, because I did use them to create different pieces of artwork. Although I'm not at the end of the video, I am curious to know which of these covers you like most. And if you do, then I'll know, you will know, and everyone else watching will know that you are a real MVP. So this is the mini mix cover, this is the mini pro cover, and this is the mini cover. So let me know down below in the comments which is your favorite. But with no further ado, I do want to touch on some of the artwork that I have been creating and why. One of the things that I also got was this Jackson's book, which is the A4 version, so the letter size version. I also have the smaller versions. They are really inexpensive sketchbooks in that they are maybe like, I don't know, £1.50, something like that for this size, and maybe they go down to like 50p for the smaller sizes, but they can kind of handle materials relatively well. So in here what I have done recently, started exploring with collage and jelly printing. And as you can see, I was able to use pastels, I was able to use watercolors, I was able to also glue in all these bits of collage to do this abstract landscape, and it handled it well. Is it perfect? By no means, but this is £1. And I get so many pages to just play around and explore in. And I feel like ultimately the supplies that you're going to use are the best supplies, and that may not always be related to price and quality. So for me, I really enjoyed using this sketchbook and just using it as a place to mess around and not necessarily try to make finished pieces, but at least try things out and try out ideas and see how they work. And it's funny because I made loads of papers using the jelly plate that I showed you, and not all of them were successes. But the good thing is that all of them can make collage paper, and if I don't want them for collage paper, then I can always just paint over it and go again. I did get an A5 jelly plate, which is this. It's clear, but it's in here. Speaking of which, the other thing that I did is I finally opened up this sketchbook that I had, which is the Art Creations Royal Talens. Again, not a great sketchbook for watercolor, not a great sketchbook for like wet medias per se, but it will do, you know, it will do, it's okay. And in it, I basically, again, used it to experiment because it's a little bit more robust than the Jackson's one I've shown you. So these are some of the jelly plates printing that I did. This is not the effect that I was going for at all. It's not intentional, but it's what we have. And they remind me that I enjoyed the process, even if the results aren't that great. So there's something nice about having them here. Then here, I really like these. Like, this is an example of I like the results. Don't quite know how I got it. Definitely can't recreate it. But I just really like the moodiness of both of these pieces and the color schemes inside it. This one is on tissue paper. This one is on like regular printer paper. So both of them quite inexpensive, but a lot of fun to do on my new jelly plate. And the colours that I use that you'll see featured quite a bit. So I've been using the Winsor & Newton acrylic Galleria paints, which again are new, but as you can see, I've used so much of it recently. To get the slightly darker colours, I actually mixed in a burnt umber, just so that I can make the blue even nicer and even deeper and darker. But yeah, this color here, this one is the one that's one of the most used ones. It's not as opaque, which is a bit annoying, so I will try and maybe find other opera roses that work a bit better for what I want to do and what I enjoy using. But in the meantime, I'm definitely going to finish this first. Then we keep going because my gosh, I was having such a good time trying out different supplies. So this is a obviously abstract piece that has the new pastels that I've got. It has some jelly plate prints that I have collaged in. So these, for example, are related to this down here. I then also did a session where I was just doing jelly prints in pink, so that's quite heavily featured in here as well. Played around with the brayer, I played around with the acrylics and doing dry brush. I played around with the Roman Schmall November 2024 colours. So essentially it was my way of actually exploring the new supplies that I have shown you but in a really fun and abstract way, by using the jelly prints and just using them all to make this really fun abstract piece. And I really enjoy it. I don't know why. It's but I both enjoyed the process and I also really enjoyed the results, and I kept it going. So this is a lot more heavily influenced by the soft pastels that you can see here. I did fix them, although I do feel like I need to add more fixative. I used a lot of the Unison soft pastels, especially to do the backgrounds and to do the very first few layers. And then some places I reactivated them with water. Other places I kind of left them in that soft pastel-esque look and feel that they have to them, so that it's a little bit more soft and gentle. I also used the distress oxides as well to do some of the layers underneath, so that it was again a little bit softer. Some of it I covered up, but not everything. And the thing is that I like working up in layers, and I like the fact that, ultimately there will be, the closer you look, the more layers you see, and the more parts of a painting that perhaps you wouldn't have initially seen at first glance are actually there. And I think that's why I really enjoy looking at and doing close-ups of artwork, because I feel like it just gives you a really good insight. So this was still abstract, but again, still just learning the new supplies that I have. Then continuing, and this is all from this art haul, we did this, and I love this. I love it because I had such a good time. I love it because I enjoyed the process, and again, it's just a really good reminder about using what you have, enjoying the process, and just ultimately that the supplies that you use are the supplies that are going to be best for you.
Oh my child, I know you're hurt and you can't let go. It's not your fault and you don't deserve all the bad and the hurt. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. Did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. All your life you've tried to be a good man inside. Did everything that you thought you should. Didn't seem to do you any good. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. So hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight.
My aim of this session was honestly just to learn the supplies that I'd got better, and to be looser, and to be freer, and to play around, and to explore colour and marks and all of that and more. But ultimately, I just actually wanted to enjoy the process. I knew that really and truly, I don't have to show this to anyone. So if it ends up being something that I'm not that happy with, that's fine. What matters more is that I enjoyed the process and I learned something from it. So it's a range of different things, everything that I've got recently. So here we have the tempera sticks, and they are inexpensive children's supplies. Almost certainly not Lightfast, but they are just so much fun to use, and I really enjoyed using them. If you saw my sketchbook tour with the Strathmore 500 sketchbook, in there you'll see that I created such bright, colourful, playful landscapes, and in part it was because I started using these, and it almost feels like painting or drawing with lipstick. And because they're so chunky, you can't get too focused or nitty-gritty on the details, so it just allows you to be looser if that's what you're looking for. So I used that. I also used the soft pastels. the yellow and the hints of pink in soft pastels. And then here you can see that in some places I left it dry. In other places I actually reactivated the soft pastels so that I could see how they work. I used the watercolors, so the Rosa Gallery watercolors, the Aureolin, that's actually PY150. I used that to do glazing as well. So, you know, it's a technique where you do like a light layer of paint over it and it just unified the whole painting. I also used the Roman Schmall November 2024 because I just love the color. I think it's beautiful. And it's funny because I was doing like mixes and I had to be careful because I didn't want to make brown, and obviously I was using a lot of yellow and I was using this purplish color, so naturally if I'm not careful it ends up just making brown. But it was just a fun way to play and to figure out how can I actually use these complementary colors that I like seeing together, and have them overlapping and mixing and doing all these things, but not actually mixing in a way that just neutralizes them. And I feel like it worked. So I really, really enjoyed this. I also added bits of collage because I have a lot of collage paper from my experiments with the jelly plates. And then like Posca pens and essentially the supplies that I've shown you in at the beginning of the video. Then here, continuing the fun. So this is like just a few notes on what I actually used over here. I just wanted to be able to remember, and I kind of thought I like notes in sketchbooks, even though I don't do it that often. I like having a way to look back on what I was thinking, what I was doing, why I did it. And I feel like coming back and seeing your notes is just a really nice way to do that. So I just did this little quick piece so that I could quickly annotate the different supplies that I had included in here and the main bits, if you will. And then here, because I had taped off the acrylic grids, I actually, instead of like reusing the tape and then throwing it away, I actually stuck it into my sketchbook, and I really like it. I feel like it almost looks like really cool washi tapes that are really unique and happen to match an art piece that I really enjoyed the process of creating. So again, that was really, really fun. I actually did a session with my members over Zoom where we kind of went through my technique for creating these kind of grids, and I'll leave it linked for you in case you are interested. But one of the other interesting things that I found is that this piece and this piece actually use the very same color scheme, but whereas before I was quite intentional to mix purple leaning colors, so mixing the Quin Magenta with the Roman Schmall November 2024. In this instance, I was actually more focused on mixing it with the yellow so that I could create these moody green colors. So you can still see the pops of pinks and the pops of Quin Magenta and everything, but instead there's a different focus, same color scheme, just mixed in different ways. And then I also used this super fun, playful thing, which I think it was like a set of 4 for £2 or £3. And initially I had got it because I actually wanted this flat shape instead, almost resembling like, you know, credit cards that people use, so that I could apply paints differently, especially like the acrylics, make different marks, try to like use it to even make marks in my watercolor, so on and so forth. So I got it for this, to be honest. In it came this, which I was like, okay, cool, won't really use it, but that's fine. And then 2 others. But as you can see, I ended up using it quite a lot because there's something so satisfying about doing this. And this was initially one piece that I then turned upside down so I couldn't see the artwork and cut it up, because again, the whole point of this was to be free and to enjoy the process and not to necessarily bog down on what the final pieces look like, even if I enjoyed what they look like. And in fact, this piece, although you can't tell, or I don't know if you can tell, but for me it was actually inspired by pears. Now not everyone will see it let me know if you do, but it was really fun to put together. And again, I was kind of thinking about pears, the colors that I see in pears, the blush pears, and again just trying to focus on making some really nice moody greens, even though I'm using the same colors that I was over here. So again, it just really shows you the power of play. And then if we go on to here, this is from the session that I did with my members, just talking through the different ways that I create abstract art, the different techniques that have worked for me so that you can do them as well. And then just exploring the different supplies that I had got. So this one, although it's a similar color scheme, actually leans a lot more blue than the other ones did. And then we still have, like, you know, this isn't actually the tempera stick. This bright one is the opera pink acrylic ink just going across. And I create this whole thing as one piece and then remove the tape and see what the actual individual mini boxes then look like. Getting into the fact that, you know what, I'm really enjoying, although it's quite prominent, I really enjoy using this to make marks. I enjoy it, one, because of the shapes, but also because sometimes, especially because I was working in layers, it almost like reveals the layers underneath, which I quite like. Like if you look over here, for example, you can see that there's lighter layers underneath that blue, and here you can see the lighter layers, and also here. So every so often, I think it's just a nice way to show that actually there's a lot of layers in this artwork. And then sticking through it, so this is from the tape that I removed here, and for the same reason, I really liked the different patterns. It reminds me of really fun washi tapes, and I just thought that this was a really fun way to keep the washi tapes rather than just throwing them away. I was deliberately quite intentional in just trying to use the supplies straight away, trying to explore them straight away, not being overly precious with them, and I feel like it made such a big difference. Like I enjoyed using them a lot more. I feel like I learnt them a lot better, and it just helped feed my creativity. I was feeling a little bit bored in terms of I felt like I was doing the same thing over and over, and this was a way to kind of shake out of that. And one of the other things that I did was finish a sketchbook in 5 days, and I share that in this video next. Bye and God bless.